In a world that never shuts up, the loudest voice isn't the one that wins. It's the quietest one everyone leans in to hear. If you've ever felt drained from explaining yourself too much, if you've ever said something and immediately wished you'd stayed silent, then this video might just change how you think forever. Because the real power, it's not in what you say. It's in what you don't. This is strategic silence, the power of saying less to achieve more. Let's uncover how your silence can speak louder than 1,000 words. In today's world, where every opinion is broadcasted, every thought shared, and every moment exposed, one of the most effective tools in human interaction has been lost: strategic silence. Everyone else is shouting their intentions, revealing their plans, and displaying their thoughts, but the most successful, the most influential people know when to remain silent and how to wield that silence as a form of power. They understand that sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful statement of all. Abraham Maslow, the pioneering psychologist known for his humanistic approach, grasped something that is profoundly relevant today. Maslow's theories are centered around human potential, self-actualization, and the understanding of one's needs. But he also recognized something more subtle: the power of silence. In his teachings, Maslow emphasized that human behavior isn't only driven by action, it's equally shaped by what's left unspoken, the invisible forces of inner needs, unexpressed desires, and untapped potential. Silence, in his view, can become a strategic tool used not only for self-reflection, but for communicating strength and control. The cost of excessive speech. Maslow lived in an era vastly different from ours, but the principles he explored remain timeless. Excessive speech in any form, whether verbal, written, or digital, can create vulnerabilities. It's like showing your cards too early in a game of poker. Once the information is out, it cannot be taken back. There are significant costs to over-communicating that many fail to recognize. Maslow once said, "The more we understand ourselves, the more we realize how much of what we do is driven by unseen needs. The more you speak, the more you expose about your internal world, your weaknesses, your thinking process, and your limitations. The more you reveal, the more easily others can anticipate your actions, manipulate you, or counter your plans. The most powerful people don't share everything. They speak only when it serves them, leaving room for others to wonder about their next move. Those who overshare, whether at work, on social media, or in personal relationships, risk becoming predictable and easily influenced. Pause here and ask yourself, how many times have you overshared, only to regret giving someone too much power over you? If that hit a nerve, you're not alone. The 3 types of strategic silence. Strategic silence isn't just about shutting up. It's a deliberate and calculated choice made to serve specific objectives. There are 3 distinct types of silence, each serving a different purpose. Understanding these will allow you to use silence as a tool of influence in a world that rewards constant talking. 1. Information gathering, silence. In the fast-paced world we live in, the person who talks the most often misses the opportunity to gather critical information. Maslow understood that true growth comes from understanding others, not just articulating your own thoughts. He often spoke about the importance of self-actualization and reflection, the process of going within and understanding one's inner needs. Strategic silence is an extension of this. Before speaking, take the time to listen and understand what others are saying or not saying. This approach gives you an advantage. Think about it. Whoever speaks first in a negotiation often loses. It's not just about withholding information. It's about collecting as much data as possible so you can make informed decisions. The person who listens more than they talk will often have the advantage of knowledge. This can be the edge you need, whether in negotiations, business meetings, or even personal relationships. 2. Authority-building silence. The second type of silence is authority-building silence. Maslow was deeply concerned with how people present themselves to others, particularly in positions of leadership. True leaders understand the power of restraint in communication. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. Maslow believed that people are naturally inclined to seek validation and approval, but a true leader doesn't need to speak constantly to gain respect. Instead, they build authority through selective communication. They answer only the essential questions and speak with purpose. This avoids unnecessary explanations, which, in the eyes of others, can often appear as insecurity or a lack of confidence. Consider how leaders behave. The CEO doesn't need to respond to every comment or defend every decision. They speak decisively and briefly, which increases their stature. On the other hand, the insecure person, the one who constantly justifies themselves, loses respect over time. The beauty of strategic silence lies in its ability to project confidence. Leaders who speak only when necessary and hold back the rest create an image of mystery and strength. Silence doesn't mean weakness, it means control and power. Here's a truth bomb. The moment you stop over-explaining, people start paying attention. Let them wonder. Let them guess. That mystery, that's your power. Third, ambiguity, preserving silence. The third form of silence is the most subtle. Ambiguity, preserving silence. Maslow's hierarchy of needs suggests that people are driven by their internal motivations and desires, which are often complex and multifaceted. Similarly, the ability to remain ambiguous without revealing everything can be a powerful strategy in preserving your options and maintaining flexibility in your decisions. Maslow understood that clarity can sometimes limit freedom. If you commit to something too soon, you risk closing off other potential opportunities. The person who leaves room for interpretation, who doesn't box themselves into one idea or path, maintains control of their environment. In politics, business, or even personal relationships, ambiguity allows you to navigate various scenarios without being trapped by your own words. This doesn't mean deception, but rather the art of keeping options open and allowing others to fill in the gaps with their own interpretations. The ambiguity-preserving approach ensures that you aren't boxed in by narrow definitions or limited possibilities. The psychological power of silence. Strategic silence also has profound psychological effects that speech cannot match. Silence isn't just about avoiding vulnerability. It's a tool for psychological influence. When you remain silent at critical moments, you force others to project their feelings, desires, and judgments onto you. Maslow emphasized the importance of self-awareness, understanding how your internal needs shape your external actions. The same principle applies when it comes to silence. People will fill the void of silence with their own thoughts and assumptions. This means that your silence becomes a reflection of their emotions, not yours, often revealing more about them than about you. In negotiations, this is particularly valuable. If you allow silence after making a statement, your counterpart may feel compelled to fill the gap with their own concessions or information. The silence shifts the power dynamic, giving you the upper hand. The allure of transparency. In modern society, we're constantly told to be transparent, to be authentic, to share our truth. But Maslow understood that authenticity doesn't mean broadcasting everything. Transparency, especially in strategic situations, can make you vulnerable. In a world obsessed with constant sharing, being overly transparent can result in losing your mystique and becoming predictable. Maslow's teachings remind us that while authenticity is important, overexposure can be dangerous. In business, social media, and even personal relationships, constantly revealing everything about yourself diminishes the perceived value of your insights and actions. The more you give away, the less impactful your words and actions become. Strategic silence isn't about deception or manipulation. It's about preserving your power and maintaining control over how others perceive you. By withholding unnecessary information, you maintain your mystique and keep your influence intact. Practical applications of silence. So, how can we apply Maslow's ideas of silence to our own lives? Here are some practical tips. Practice information asymmetry. Don't rush to share your thoughts or plans. Listen first. Ask questions. Get a sense of where others stand before revealing your own position. This allows you to maintain an informational advantage. Cultivate strategic ambiguity. Don't commit to specifics too soon. In business, this might mean keeping the details of a deal open. In personal life, it might mean expressing your intentions without detailing your exact actions. Keep your options open to preserve flexibility. Embrace silence as a position of power. Don't feel the need to fill every pause. Whether in meetings, conversations, or negotiations, resist the urge to speak just to fill silence. Instead, use it to your advantage, creating psychological pressure on others. The final irony. The most effective communicators today may not be the loudest or most transparent. Instead, the masters of strategic silence operate in the background, observing, listening, and revealing only what's necessary. They gain influence and control without drawing attention to themselves. Silence is their weapon. They use it to shape the conversation, maintain their authority, and achieve their goals without the noise that drowns out others. Maslow understood that personal power doesn't always come from talking more. It comes from choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. In a world obsessed with sharing and over-communicating, those who wield silence effectively don't just participate in the conversation, they win. They achieve their goals while others are still talking about winning. So here's your challenge. This week, say less. Observe more. Hold your silence and watch the room shift. Because when you master the art of saying less, you don't just take control of the conversation, you control the outcome. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to stop oversharing and start moving in silence, smash that like button, drop power in silence in the comments, and hit subscribe. Because this is just the beginning of a whole new way of thinking.